Joining us from the very, very start. Callum, how's it looking your end? Are we all looking good?
It is looking pretty damn good, yeah.
I
We
don't know.
are
I
we're
don't know if I like
working.
that. It's for the last three episodes we've had a thing where you've had a problem at the start. You're breaking tradition, Cal.
I know, I'm sorry. It's unusual for things to go well, but change is good.
Yeah, let's not jinx it. Let's hope it carries on going well.
I'm sure they're going to say in a minute something like, "Oh, we can't hear Josh," and I'm just going to throw a brick out the window. So
Even if you can, if you're in Cal's stream, say that you can't, and then we'll see. Good evening to all of you. Welcome if you're joining us on Twitch. Cal, how have you been this week?
I've been pretty damn good. I've been busy. I've been doing lots of things that I needed to get done outside of YouTube, and it's been good. It's been a week of catch up.
Yes, that can be nice sometimes, can't it? To sit back and
Yes,
grab all the outside stuff that you need to have.
because it piles up pretty quickly, doesn't it?
God, yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. You come down one morning and everything's kind of tidy and your food is kind of sorted and your diet's kind of okay, and then by the end of the week, everything's on fire. Half your clothes are gone. You're eating sauce packets from McDonald's.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate actually.
Yeah, it falls down quickly. It really, truly does. But that's what this podcast is about, to give some level of consistency to otherwise chaotic lives. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty spot on.
It is. No matter how bad things get, on Monday, you can listen to two English guys talk about games.
Well, that's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just what you want.
It's the consistency I think the world needs right now. I think we're doing a public service, if anything.
Yeah, we are. Oh, for God's sake, here comes the error that we were waiting for.
Has things actually gone wrong now?
I've got this thing. I don't know if you know about this. Every time I go live, it resets what I'm streaming to the last thing I was streaming when I was live, and I don't know why. So last time I was streaming Spore, and while I was offline today, I set it up ready for Tangent Tavern.
Yes.
Press go live, it reverts back to the last thing that I was streaming.
So
Hate it.
every time you go live, because I'm using Streamlabs OBS, don't you get to choose which section you want to go into?
I'm just using OBS, so it uses the last
Right.
things that you set.
Right.
It's kind of annoying.
You have to go onto Twitch manually and switch it round.
Exactly.
I see.
Of course.
Good evening to everyone who's in the chat right now. Thank you if you watched the nostalgic video. Me and Cal have both been taking a bit of a nostalgic tangent in our content recently, and
We have.
We've both got good reasons for it. So, Cal, why are you doing nostalgic videos instead of just focusing on scams?
Because I want to branch out. I mean, there are always a lot of scams, but I can't reliably say that every Friday, every week, I will be able to put a video out on scams. And if I do, they're going to be watered down or just nothing source.
Yeah.
Essentially, they will get to that point.
Yeah, there will be a week where nothing massively important happens, and what you'll have to do is put out a crap video.
Yeah, because you have to keep putting videos out, otherwise YouTube will just throw you to one side.
Oh yeah, you need that one. You absolutely need the algorithm to support you. So the problem is you've got to keep putting something out, but if you're putting content out that actually requires drama to happen, it's kind of out of your hands, isn't it?
Yeah, you have no say in it at all.
Yeah. Now, one big thing that I've noticed is YouTube isn't really about subscribers. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, it matters how many views you get. So you could have 1 million subscribers. If you only ever get 10,000 views on a video, your engagement rate is 10,000. It seems to me that the market cap for scam or MMO videos is about 400,000 people. You look at the big channels, the Asmongolds, your Lazy Peons, your really big ones, they've got loads of subs, but they seem to cap out at around 300,000 to 400,000 views for an average video.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realise this. Sub count means nothing.
Yeah, true.
Almost nothing. If your sub count is like exponentially higher than the views you're getting, you're reaching like a stale point.
Yeah.
And it's a tricky one, really, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Your subs don't directly correlate to revenue.
Yeah, you've got what people would refer to as dead subs. If you've got 100,000 subscribers, but you put a video out and 10,000 people watch it, what you actually have is 90,000 people who aren't watching your content.
Who aren't interested in your content anymore.
And YouTube sees that, the algorithm sees that and says, right, this is not what we want to do. That's actually why we've decided to branch out and put nostalgic videos onto other channels, because if you mix content on channels, it's bad. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, it is really bad. It's not a good idea. But I've done it last week to test the water.
Yeah.
With a new series. If it does well, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might keep it on my main channel if people seem to be okay with that. If it doesn't affect views on other videos. Yeah. Otherwise, it might get its own channel, or it might just not exist. We'll see.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Some questions to the chat. Peace in our time. Is this a Q&A or what's going on? Allow me to explain for anyone who is new to the stream. I'm Josh. This is Callum. We make YouTube videos, and every Monday we host the Tangent Tavern. Tangent Tavern's pretty simple as an idea. You grab in, you grab in, you come a seat. I meant to say those words in that order. And then we talk about video games, and then we go off on a tangent.
Yeah, you know? That's pretty accurate. That's it. That's what we do.
We have a start point, which is gaming, and then we have an end point, which is, who knows, we'll get there in 2 hours. We'll see what happens.
Which is just whatever happens, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So what I'd like to talk about quickly is we're going to get onto New World, because I've been playing New World literally all day. Can we take questions? Yeah, if you want to ask a question in the chat, I can read the chat, and we'll try and respond to everyone. But I've been playing New World all day. But I want to get onto New World a little bit later. Earlier in my Discord, I was having a bit of a conversation with a couple of other people, and they were asking kind of YouTube advice. Someone was starting a channel, they were putting some videos out, and this person said that they'd spoken to big YouTubers like Matt Pat, the Spiffing Brit, all these really big, successful guys. And the most common piece of advice given to them was, just be yourself. Just be yourself. And I think that's really bad advice.
That's awful advice. It is, because that's kind of what they're doing anyway. Here's the thing: when you get all these, do you remember the rush to become a Minecraft YouTuber a few years ago, where everybody was doing it? I mean, it's still going on, I'd say. That was everybody being themselves, and didn't necessarily help them.
Yes, being yourself is a great idea if you are a naturally incredibly entertaining person and you are entertaining all the time. However, I guarantee if you actually know someone in real life who is entertaining all the time, they are insufferable to be around, because everything is about them all the time.
Yeah, no, that's pretty spot on. I think it's the world is very full of bad social media advice at the moment. I keep seeing, I'm in a lot of streamer groups, and I'll often lend some information in there, but the information that I see being passed around for just Twitch alone, and I'm like, no, that's
bad.
That's bad. Don't do that.
That's bad. So I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee. I used to teach martial arts. I'm a big fan of the martial arts world, and Bruce Lee famously said, absorb what is useful, disregard what is not useful, and make something that is uniquely your own. And I think that is very true. Take advice from everyone you can, and then work and use the advice that actually applies to you, because someone might give you 4 or 5 bits of great advice and then 100 bits of absolute tosh. So take the 4 or 5 good bits from everyone and then work out what works for you. That seems to be the best way to do it.
Never take advice from one person.
No, don't, because you are not that person.
Nope, exactly.
It might work for them, but it might not work. So generic advice is crap. Pointless platitudes. Just push the envelope. Just blue sky thinking. Just be yourself. Just be nice. That's useless advice. So I said to this dude, are you putting a hook in the first 5 to 10 seconds of your YouTube video? Are you immediately grabbing the audience's attention? He's like, no, I'm just talking. Okay, are you talking excitedly? Are you being over the top? Are you entertaining? Are you being an exaggerated version of yourself? No, I'm just talking normally. Okay, that's boring.
You're a clone of everybody else who's just started a YouTube channel.
People think that if you exaggerate because the whole thing actually started talking about Asmongold, and I'm a big fan of Asmongold as a creator and as an entertainer, because Zach, the actual human of Asmongold, Asmongold is a character. He's an exaggerated character, and it's the same as Alan Partridge and Steve Coogan. It's the same as Sacha Baron Cohen and Borat. It's an exaggerated character designed to entertain. People think if you aren't being completely neutral, normal you're not being genuine.
Yeah, and genuine doesn't sell, let's be honest. Like genuine in certain situations it doesn't sell. No, like you're coming to YouTube for entertainment. If everybody was entertaining, you wouldn't be coming to YouTube. You'd be spending time with the regular people around you that were equally as entertaining by just being themselves.
Being genuine sounds great to the people who are doing it, and it's a great thing to add in addition to being entertaining, but it's not the base level of entertaining. Imagine you went to go and eat at a restaurant and the food was really crap, but all the chefs there were really nice people.
Yeah.
And they were really genuine, and they were really happy, and they were just doing their own thing in the kitchen. You wouldn't sit there thinking, yeah, the food's bad and it's terrible, but hey, the chefs are all genuine.
Yeah.
You'd go somewhere else.
It's the whole package that you want, not just really good in one area.
Yeah. Imagine
and abysmal in the other.
Yeah, imagine taking your car to a mechanic, and you say to the mechanic, hey, are you trained? Have you got the skills? Do you know what to do? And he goes, no, but I'm a really genuine person.
Yeah, I can moonwalk.
Yeah.
I'll pop you a moonwalk on the way out.
Yeah, you're like, that's great. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're a genuine person. Can you solve my problem right now? I don't care how genuine you are as an entertainer. Can you entertain me? If you are being genuine, fantastic. If you are not being genuine, but you are still entertaining, like, an actor, I will happily still watch that as well.
Yeah. It really is just a sea of bad advice.
So anyone in the chat, what's the worst advice you've been given? And Cal, do you have any terrible advice that you've either been given or would like to share with people, or would like to explain why it's bad? Because I can go on all day about why be yourself is bad advice.
Are we on about specific to YouTube?
Any advice, Cal. Literally, we are here to soothe the world's woes. Any advice.
Ooh, I've been given a lot of bad advice.
Let's keep it somewhat family friendly.
That's what I'm struggling to do in my head right now.
We want to be able to re-upload this to YouTube at some point without the YouTube police coming after it. Worst advice I got was to go to a performing class because I sit a lot of the time behind the computer. I mean, hey, going to a performing class is... going to a programming class, I see. Yeah, I mean, if you enjoy the computer, it doesn't mean you want to program it. Follow your passion is kind of bad. Follow your passion is fine, provided it then makes money and supports you and provides value to others. That's what people forget. People hate hearing this. You need to provide value to society in some way for what you do to be considered valuable.
Yeah. I'll tell you what the worst advice I've been given for YouTube is. Mm-hmm. The worst advice I was given was that I need to make all of my titles clickbait. They were like, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Mm-hmm. They were like, once you drag people in, it'll be fine. Mm. And I watched that same person who did it, but who suggested it, doing the same thing, and their channel took an absolute dive from doing the exact same thing. Mm. It's one of those things that I know, deep down, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I avoided it, but it backfired on them.
Yep.
Big time.
Red arrows, man. Red arrows and circles. You wouldn't believe number 4. There was a study done on this and exactly why it happens. Your brain is rewarded with dopamine whenever you answer a question. Whenever you have a bit of curiosity, you sate the curiosity, you get the dopamine rush. It's actually been discovered that with clickbait, you get that dopamine the moment you click, not when the question is answered. So if it's those stupid, you won't believe what this person looks like, or you won't believe what they did here, and you click, you actually feel good for clicking, even if you don't get the answer. And it's addictive, and people keep doing it.
It's like a completion, a quest completed, isn't it?
It is.
And someone says in my chat, Edwin says, can you explain, or Josh, what value means? There's a good amount of people who don't know what this means. So providing value basically means, what are you giving that people won't get elsewhere? Yeah. Like on a basic level, that's what it means. So Josh's value would be, oh god, Josh, what would you say your value is?
Do you mean for YouTube videos specifically? For
YouTube specifically.
So whenever someone clicks to watch a video, they want to be entertained, or they have a question, or they need to learn something. I've focused on taking a very specific demographic, the MMORPG demographic, taking a very specific approach to it, which is finding bad ones and mocking them, which is entertainment based on mocking of mutually enjoyed genres. So when someone watches my videos, they are getting a 20 to 30 minute curated entertainment piece based on taking the piss out of game design in a specific genre. That's exactly what they're going to get every single time they watch it. And that is the value that I'm adding to people's day. Entertainment based within a certain genre. If people, I could easily put up a 9-hour unedited video of my playthrough with no voiceover. Imagine watching a 9-hour playthrough of a crap MMO with no voiceover and nothing done to make it entertaining. That's not fun. So the value that I'm adding to the video is my voice, my script, the editing to cut it down, the entertainment value to it, the jokes. If people watch that video, hopefully it improves their day. That's the value that we're adding to it.
Yeah, and I'd say your acting background as well adds a lot of value to your content.
I think it's helped a great deal, mainly with pronunciation and script writing and talking to camera and presenting and meeting people and things like that. I really do need to... I want to get back into the world where I can meet people face to face, because that was always my specialty.
Yes.
Instead of meeting over email or meeting over Discord, it's nice to be able to shake someone's hand and chat them face to face, because that was what I preferred.
Have a beer.
So, I mean, anything can provide... A doctor provides very obvious value because we need people to be taken care of. And a pilot provides very obvious value because they are flying planes. When someone does something that does not provide value to the audience, or doesn't answer a question, or doesn't fulfill a need, and then they wonder why the audience isn't there, the answer is because they aren't providing enough value. As horrible as it sounds, that's the reason. And someone mentioned being on a date is where you want to be yourself. Very true. However, there's a very interesting topic I want to get onto. A lot of people say, I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. Oh, why don't you want to date me? I'm a nice guy. Being nice
guy finished last.
Yeah, being nice is the base minimum.
Yeah, like that should be there.
Yeah.
It's like Earth 2 saying, we've got a game.
Yeah. Yeah, being nice. You don't get a medal. You don't get rewarded for doing the bare minimum. You also need to provide value in a relationship. And I'm not saying that you need to be emotionless with this. It's not like a robotic transaction. But if you want to get into a relationship with someone, you're doing it because you value them and what they can bring to your life. Do they have a sense of humour? Do they enjoy the same things you enjoy? Can they cook? Are they good looking? Do they have, a good sense of humour? It's all about the value that you can bring to others, or others can bring to you. And whenever I see people say, and sorry to go off on a weird tangent, but that is the whole show.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Whenever someone says, how can I get people to like me? How can I get girls to like me? Become someone who's likable.
Yeah.
You're always asking the wrong question. It's always, how can I get people to like me? And never, how can I become a likable person? How can I increase my own value? And it's not just money, and it's not just looks. No. You can volunteer. You can, learn a skill.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think it's looks, money, and I'm a nice guy. There's a lot of people in relationships that aren't nice guys, but they bring other things to the table.
Yeah, and that's exactly why people hate them. Why is she dating him? He's not nice. He's probably not, but he's probably got a lot of other things that she values. It's unfortunate that nice just isn't there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe she's not looking for nice.
Yeah.
That's not on her list of criteria.
That's horrible, but it's one of those things you've got to understand. You can be yourself while still changing what you are. You can absolutely be you, because there's a great article. I'll link it. It's on cracked.com, back when Cracked was really good. I don't know if anyone read the cracked.com back in the day, but they had some excellent
I've read a few articles.
The articles they had back in the... they had Michael Swaim and Sean Baby. They had some really, solid writers years and years and years ago. And then it changed and went very, very clickbaity. But one of the articles I read is 6 harsh truths that will make you a better person. In fact, I might even bring that article up if you don't mind discussing the bits.
No, go for it.
Just
what did you say it was called? And I'll get it up on my side.
6 harsh truths that will make you a better person. Written by let's have a quick look. Sure, it wasn't Jason Pargin, but it's the correct article. Yeah, 6 harsh truths.
I've got it.
You can just scroll down. Yeah, I mean, we'll go to number 6. If anyone wants to follow along as well at home, if you want to follow along at home, 6 harsh truths.
I will drop a link in my chat if anybody wants to.
Yeah, I'll see if I can bang one on Twitch as well, just so people can follow along with what we're reading.
If I can even get my chat, that would be lovely.
Oh god, yeah. People are also saying there's the I am nice, therefore I deserve something. If you expect something back from what you are doing, you're not nice.
Yeah. You've failed at the first hurdle.
Yeah, you're trying to be transactional. If you expect A because you did B, then that's not nice. Nice is you do A, B, C, D, E because it's the right thing to do. You are morally happy that you've done it, and you don't expect to be repaid for it.
Yeah. A lot of people just don't get it, and I don't understand how people don't get it. It's so strange, especially with the rise of social media and influencers like, on Instagram and whatnot. The advice has just gotten so much worse.
Oh, are we on to bad dating advice now? Because we can talk bad dating advice. I'm sure people in the chat, we've got a couple of hundred people hanging out with us. I'm sure we're going to get some bad dating advice going on right now. Cal, shall we play the agony uncle role, and should we help people understand the correct dating advice?
I don't think you want my dating advice.
I think we do, Cal. We need a foil. We need somewhere to bounce this around. We need to talk about this.
Yeah, go on then.
I mean, mine would just be, do you like MMOs? And then it goes from there. Okay.
I have one big bit of advice, you think that this isn't good advice. It's brilliant advice. Don't mess around with anyone from work.
That's very true. Very, very true. If you're gonna have any kind of thing with someone from where you work, you're getting into a minefield there, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
You are, because...
Tricky situation.
It's either going to go great... I mean, you look at it, any relationship ends one of two ways. You either get married and live happily ever after, or you break up, eventually. That's literally the two places it goes.
It is the only two possibilities.
You don't need marriage, but it's the idea of a relationship either lasts or it doesn't. If it lasts when you're at work and you're working with this person, fantastic. Great, I'm glad you guys are happy as long as you can remain professional. If it doesn't last... the fallout is going to be quite bad, and people think that fallout is bad when a teenage relationship breaks up. It's worse when an adult relationship breaks up, because adults are like teenagers, but smarter and more vindictive, and they've got much more power to actually mess people's lives up.
Yeah, just never. As Archons has said in my chat, I think the expression is "don't shit on your own doorstep."
It is. It really is. It's don't shit where you eat.
That's it.
Yeah, don't make a potential problem in a place that you spend a long amount. If you're on Twitch for dating advice, you've already lost. That's very true. It's very true. We're just trying to...
Very accurate.
In the Netherlands, it's quite common for people to be together 40 years without being married. Yeah, that's cool, if people are happy with that. Worst question to ask a crush. Hey, do you like Dreamworld? In Tharth, I think if someone said to me, hey, do you like Dreamworld? And you're like, yeah, let's go and play together. You've found a very special person.
That's going to go the distance if you can both get onto Dreamworld and not want to kill one another.
Yes, you can go and enjoy the peppers together, the pepper bombs.
Oh no!
You can have the fun time with that. But no, we were talking about providing value. This whole thing came back from providing value, and if you aren't in a relationship and you want to be, being nice is indeed a value that you have as a human being. However, it's not actually providing value. You aren't giving anything to the other person. You aren't improving their life by just being nice.
Yeah. Now, being nice is something that, I mean, ideally, that's a criteria that everybody matches. But it seems to be something that everyone thinks will carry them through, situations in life. It won't.
Yeah. And have we discussed the idea that whenever you give someone advice on potentially doing something different, their immediate snapback is, I don't want to be fake. I don't want to change me. So, or, and this is one I see a lot, you recommend something and the person you're recommending the thing to goes all the way to the extreme and says, oh, you're saying this. So, someone will say to me, oh, I'm not getting very, very lucky with the ladies. And I'll say, okay, have you considered, hitting the gym every now and again? And they'll say, oh, you want me to become a gym bro, take creatine, take protein, go to the gym 5 nights a week. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all.
Go to Pure Gym twice a week, just for a couple of hours. Just
maybe cut down on the sugar for a little bit. Maybe work out a little bit more. I'm not saying you need to change who you inherently are.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you can take the base of who you are and improve it. Add things that make your life objectively better.
Yeah. It's such a weird one. to try and get your head around, because people won't. They'll ask for advice, and if you give them any resemblance of advice, they'll be like, "Oh, well, you haven't done that," and it's like, "Well, yeah, I'm giving advice for you, like for your situation. I'm not saying do what I did. I'm doing things differently. You know, I'm giving you advice tailored to you."
Girl Grayson has got a good mess in the Twitch chat there. Have either of you ever gotten advice that's actually changed your perspective on a situation, and did it help? Yes, I have. I've been given a great deal of advice from many teachers throughout my life, and I've learned from good people and from bad people. Because, I mean, sometimes you can learn more from watching idiots than you can from hanging around smart people. But I'm going to write this down so I can think of 2 situations in my life where I've got genuinely life-changing advice. Cal, do you have any memories of genuinely life-changing advice?
I have had 2 bits of advice. So one of them was a really simple one that you might just brush it off, but it was life-changing in a sense. So someone said to me, because I always used to walk in places, and if there was a lot of people there, I'd always be a little bit not shy, but just kind of like not there, reserved, really. Yeah, reserved. And one of my mates said a few years back, he was like, whenever you walk in anywhere, it doesn't matter where it is, shoulders back, like head high, even if you're not trying to make an impression, he was like, and you still will. And that's something that ever since then, always done. Like you get noticed walking in anywhere like that.
Yep.
So it works for like job interviews, it works for you name it, if you're going clubbing, whatever. And then the second bit was, and I can't remember who told me this, it was, if you want to buy something, write it on your phone, wait 30 days, and then if you still, look back through that list. If it's been 30 days and you still want to buy it, buy it. 90% of the things you won't buy.
You won't even remember. You'll be there.
Exactly. You'll look on the list and you'll be like, oh, yeah, I wanted an alpaca. And, yeah, I don't anymore.
Yeah, now you don't.
Saves so much money doing that.
Yeah.
Unless it's something you need immediately and it's cheap, in that case.
We've just bought a soda stream because we realised we were drinking a lot of fizzy drinks, and we can actually save a lot of money by just making them up at home. So we've bought a soda stream, which is a machine that basically just carbonates water, because you buy the CO2 in big canisters. And then I
had one in Sweden. They're amazing.
You carbonate the water, you put in whatever flavour you want. And then we've discovered that you can buy ice cream syrup. You know, the kind of dense flavour stuff? And then you put the syrup into the soda stream stuff that you've made. And you can then get like grape flavour or strawberry flavour. And it's low on sugar, and it's super cheap.
Ooh, I might need to get some of that then.
Yeah, we've got some
I'm
grape syrup.
Something nice and low sugar.
Making some stuff, so yeah, we're really happy with that. Yeah, the advice I was getting, I've been given 3 pieces of advice. The first piece of advice I think I read it somewhere, and it said most people can't tell the difference between confidence and genius. They can't. So if you're not a genius, but you act confident, people will assume that you are. And you can get through a lot of situations in life by people assuming that you know what you're doing. Because even if you half know what you're doing and you can convince other people to come with you, it will then work. It will then happen. If you get 10 people doing the same thing, chances are you're all going to succeed, because you're all going to find the problems and help each other and work it out. So even if you don't quite know what you're doing, but you convince other people that you do, you will be able to get through problems. You can brute force your way through problems. It's ridiculous.
And so many of the world's biggest problems have been solved that way.
Just saying, right, we're going to do it.
Just get a bunch of people together and we'll fumble our way through it. A bodge job is the best way to a solution.
I mean, Battlestar Galactica, one of my favourite TV shows, the reboot even starts with that. Captain Adama, I don't know if you've seen the rebooted Battlestar Galactica.
I haven't.
So the whole plot is they are looking for Earth. They are attacked by... They're attacked by sentient robots called Cylons. They are escaping on this massive warship called the Battlestar Galactica, and they are drifting through space with a huge convoy of civilian ships, and they need to find their way back to Earth. And Captain Adama basically gives this massive speech to everyone saying, all the captains of the fleet know where Earth is, however it's a secret, because we cannot risk it falling into Cylon hands, and if captains ever get, we would take our own lives before being captured. And everyone's super psyched up to get back to Earth. And then in the next scene, Captain Adama's like, I have no idea where Earth is. But I had to say that, because if I didn't say that, imagine the anarchy and the mutiny we'd have right now.
Yeah.
But by saying that, everyone was got on the same page and everyone's working together. So being confident can actually, in a weird self-fulfilling prophecy, actually cause a solution to appear.
Yeah, if a solution has to exist and you can't find that solution, confidence will get you there.
Yeah,
because it has to.
Yeah, confidence absolutely will. So there's two other bits that have changed my life. One of them is the Cracked article that we'll come back to later, because that's absolutely changed my life. One of them was, I used to work as a go-kart mechanic. I used to fix the petrol go-kart engines, and I would drive go-karts around a little track. It was awesome. And my boss was this huge, muscled black guy called Danny. He was lovely to work with. He was, he was intimidating as hell to look at. This guy looked mean, but he just had an absolute heart of gold.
Like we're talking like Green Mile, big buff guy, but heart of gold.
Absolutely, Danny, and I think Danny was tough. Danny, he was a tough guy. He could have definitely stood up for himself. But yeah, he was polite, he was caring, he was nice, he was genuine. And we were working at the go-karts, and it was a kid's birthday party. And this little, 9-10-year-old kid was waiting for the go-karts, and he was crying. He was nervous. These things are loud, they're noisy, they're blitzing around. Mm-hmm. And Danny walks up to him. He's towering over this kid. He looks down and goes, "Are you nervous?" And the kid looks up and nods and says, "Yeah." So Danny kneels down and gets close to him and says, "Good. Being nervous means you care, and I don't want anyone on my track that doesn't care." And when I saw him do that, I thought, yeah, nerves just mean that you care about a result going the right way. It doesn't mean that you are going to be bad. It means that you want to be good.
Yeah. I think driving tests, you're always nervous before a driving test, not because you want to, roll the car, because you're nervous about failing, you want to... You want to pass.
So that was, and I've used that line now on almost every actor I teach, from child to adult. Kid walks up to me before they're about to go on stage. "Hey, I'm a bit nervous." I'll say, "Good. So am I." Because when I go on that stage, I want to give a good performance. I want to entertain the audience. And I'm nervous. Not because I'm going to be bad, but because I want to be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big one.
That applies to everything in life.
Absolutely.
That's a really good one, actually. I like that.
Being nervous does not mean you're going to be bad. Being nervous means you actually care about being good. That's the interesting one.
Yeah. And you care about the outcome.
Yeah. The last one was the potentially the best advice I ever got from 3 years of university. I was talking to my university acting tutor, and we were talking about auditions. And he said to me that statistically, as an actor, you will not get a job. Because you've got thousands of actors, going for the same roles. You walk into an acting room, statistically, you're just not getting it. So the majority of your acting time is actually in the audition room, not anywhere else. So I thought, okay, cool, I better just enjoy it. And then someone said, what do you do if you're nervous when you're going into an audition or a job interview or any situation where people expect things from you? And my acting teacher said this. He said, when I walk into an audition room, those people auditioning me have a problem. Their problem is they need an actor. I am their solution. I am here to solve their problem. I'm not here to be judged. I'm not here to prove my worth. I'm not here to, sing and dance and clap, even though you do have to do that. I am here to solve their problem. They've probably been watching actors all day. They're probably bored as fuck. They want to cast this role and they want to go home.
Yeah, you are the solution to their problem, but are you the right solution?
Yes. Every time.
You just need to...
Every single time.
And that's what you need to prove.
Yeah, I walk into a job interview for any job. Sit down. I'm not thinking, oh, please give me the job, please give me the job. I'm thinking, you've got a problem. You need someone. I'm someone. I can do everything you've asked me to do. I'll do it even better than you expect. And I'm free tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they go, damn. Okay, this guy can solve our problem. So whenever you walk into any situation where people are judging you, trust me, those people want to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want you to solve their problem, and they want to go home. Simple as.
The same works for just job interviews in general. This is actually another piece of advice that I was given, and it has never failed me. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're in interviews for anything, whether it's retail, whatever, and they say, if we were to take you on, when can you start? Just say, when do you want me to start? You can't be wrong if they're telling you when they want you.
Absolutely.
And they'll most likely just pick someone who can start at the date that they need them. They don't really care too much about your skills.
Solve their
especially in
problem.
retail. Yeah, exactly. If you say now, or like, when do you want me to, I can start whenever you want me to. Even if you're going to just backtrack later and be like, sorry, I've got an appointment I forgot about. They've hired you.
Let's discuss the worst job interview question. What's your biggest weakness? That's the worst question you can ever ask someone in a job interview. It's a crap question.
Yeah.
Because
your instinct is to go, I don't have one.
No, what you need to reply is, I've started replying kryptonite. And then you just stare at them and you assert dominance. They say, what's your biggest weakness? She's a kryptonite. And you keep looking at them and you'll see if they laugh. And if they laugh, you're like, okay, this is a person I can work with. If they don't laugh, you're thinking, this is not a person I'm going to get on with.
Yeah.
But everyone knows what you're meant to do is give a negative and then turn it into a positive. You know, what's your biggest weakness? Oh, I'm oh god, I hate this answer. I'm too much of a perfectionist. Okay?
Yeah, I know. I've had to do interviews before and everybody says that. I was like,
don't say that. That's because what you're saying then is that you are bogged down by the minutia. You say you are focusing so much on a small task that's going to have no relevance to the actual outcome that you ignore the big task that you should be focusing on instead. It's the 80-20 rule, Pareto principle. Focus on once 80% of the job is done, you can probably leave the last 20 and go into another 80% of another job for the same time period. Yeah.
A good thing to do is give a negative that's not actually anything to do with the job. So if you're applying for a job which is you sat in an office cubicle by yourself all day every day, say, I'm not too great at working in teams. Yeah. Good, because you're not going to be doing that.
Exactly.
I'd be like, that's why I applied for this role.
Yeah, I've even said before, answering this question, because it's awful. And the job interview laughed and they were like, can you explain? I'm like, well, you want me to give a positive and spin it as a negative. Or you want me to give a negative and spin it as a positive. You don't want to actually know my weaknesses, because if I lay all my weaknesses out, then I'm just talking myself out
of the job.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I will explain that I'm good enough for this job right now, and I'm not going to focus on my weaknesses, because then you're going to remember that from me, which is a bad idea. And my biggest weakness is that I will give that answer no matter how bad it might sound. And then they appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. I mean, if you just answer with, what's your biggest weakness? I don't have any. Well, your weakness is, hiding the fact that you...
lying, yeah. Don't
just
say
lying,
Don't say like drugs or something. Just
don't
give that answer.
Yeah.
Don't
do that.
What's the famous Jimmy Carr? I saw Jimmy Carr live a couple of years ago, and he was asked that in an interview, and his response is, I expect too much of myself and others, and whores. Oh, Jimmy, I appreciate the honesty. Yeah, just don't say drugs, because people will. There's another really important point in the Cracked article that I've listed.
Okay, I'm getting back to it.
It's point number 2, actually. What you are inside only matters because of what it makes you do. And this is a fascinating psychological concept. When someone says to you, I am something, it doesn't actually matter unless what they are translates into real-world action. Unless you can actually see it tangible.
Right, yeah.
When someone says, I really love dogs. Okay, cool. Do you own dogs? Do you have dogs? Do you volunteer at a dog shelter? Do you walk dogs for other people? No, and no. Okay, cool.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, you need to find... When someone says, I am something, that something needs to actually be a part of your life. It needs to be important enough to do it.
Yeah, and this actually comes back around to writing CVs and stuff. There'll be people who put something on there, or like on dating profiles, like, I enjoy messing with electronics, or I enjoy... When's the last time you did that? Do you actually do it? It's like, well, no, I like the idea of it, though.
Yeah, that's it. People love the idea of saying that they are something, because it gives a certain vibe, but then they don't actually go and do the thing. So, people say, oh, I love travel. Okay, do you, or do you like watching travel programs and fantasizing about having enough money?
Do you like the idea of doing it? Yeah,
the idea of being able to travel, because everyone likes the idea of hopping on a private jet, popping off to Machu Picchu for a week, and just sipping lovely tea or coffee, overlooking all the peasants that can't afford to have a private jet. Everyone loves the idea of travel.
But do you do it?
Yeah. You can travel by just, popping over to Skegness for a month. I wouldn't recommend you do that, but you could. What is it that... oh, God, this is another one. I love to laugh.
Really? I don't.
I hate it when people say that.
I'm at my happiest when I'm just bawling my eyes out.
Yeah. I've been on dating apps a lot in my youth. Oh, I love time with friends. Everyone does. That's why they're your friends.
Yeah.
I love spending time with friends. Obviously. We all do. If you aren't someone's friend, you don't want to spend... It's what?
Did you know what? With my time on dating apps, and this is going back like a few months as well, I have got... everyone's the same now. And this is something in the UK that a lot of people won't understand. Mm-hmm. Girls with a neon pair of angel wings behind them on their profile picture. If I see that, nah, you're gone. Because I know what your bio is going to be.
It's going to be.
I just know it's going to be generic. I like to walk on the beach. I like to laugh. I like my friends, and it's just like, shut up.
Walk on the beach. There's like 3 good beaches in England. Everything else is just Blackpool. Yeah. It's a terrible. Yeah. No one actually likes to walk on the beach in England. People like to walk
shingles
on the
and pebbles.
Exactly. People like to walk on the beach in Spain, in the coast of France. That's great. No one has gone. Let's fly to England for a beach holiday.
If you walk across a beach like, I don't know, Cornwall or something, you're going to get a dinosaur stuck in your foot. Like, nobody wants to go there.
Yeah, it's terrible. Horoscope people. Horoscope people.
Oh, don't. Yeah, my chat's on about that as well. Horoscope people. No. If you mention anything about horoscope compatibility, I've already swiped. You're gone.
But don't the positions of the stars that have been long dead for millions of years in the sky affect who you are as a person?
Yeah, it makes you a dick if you look at them.
Yes. I remember that it's astrology because there's an L in it for lie. So astrology is the random pseudoscience, and astronomy is actually studying where stars are and stuff. And astronomy...
That's a good way to remember it.
Yeah, astronomy is fine because you want to look at a star and go, that was there, it was probably over there a couple of thousand years ago. It's probably dead now, but we're still getting the actual light from it. And astrology is saying, well, if you point at those 2 stars in the right way, you can make the shape of a lion.
Yeah. My entire chat's now shaming me. They're all like, wow, that's so Sagittarius of you, Callum. Such a typical Libra.
That is so... You are so Libra. You are.
I am.
What you need to do if you ever meet a horoscope person is tell them that you are something, and then they
see if they agree with it and go,
oh, yeah. Oh, you are so much like that. And then you say, actually, no, I'm this something else. And they go, oh, no, yeah, I knew you were doing that because pretending you are something else is something else. And then you say, no, I'm actually something else.
I have actually done that about 3 times in the past, and I've tripped them up every time. I love doing it.
Yeah, just keep saying that you are things. You know?
Yeah. I'll date you unless your name's got a J in it. I mean, I'm lucky.
Yeah, you've got it. I'm out. I'm thrown away straight away. But no, it's ridiculous, the fact that there's so much stuff. I mean, maybe that's what you should answer. You know, what's your biggest weakness in a job interview? My crippling reliance on astrology to make all of my choices for me. That would definitely be a good answer.
Yeah. So, I actually know someone who uses... I'm trying to think what the app's called. Is it Star Sign? People are going to tell me if it's Star Sign or not. It's this app that basically tells you stuff about your star sign daily, tailored to you, right? I know one person who lives their life by that app solely. Anything they do in their life is like Sims. The app tells them that they're going to do it that day, and they will do it.
They do as the app commands. I love it. It's we've got people in the chat saying my star sign is Dragon Centaur. I like to use made-up zodiac signs because they're all made up. Yeah, you just make up a sign if you want to. What was the... it's known as a Barnum statement. So P.T. Barnum was... Thanks to the incredibly successful Greatest Showman film, P.T. Barnum was one of the first major circus proprietors, and a Barnum statement is a psychological statement that was actually given as a test. And let me see if I can find Barnum statements. So what happens?
Applies to everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah. So what happens was a college professor a couple of years ago said that after getting to know all of his students, he had written things about them that were personal to them, and he gave them these statements in an envelope. And the statements include things like, you have a tendency to be critical of yourself. At times, you have serious doubts as to whether you have made the right decision or done the right thing. At some times, you're extroverted, affable, social, while other times you're introverted, wary and reserved. And security is one of your major goals in life. And there's 13 Barnum statements, and they're all just general statements that apply to everyone. You know,
yeah.
That's all horoscopes are. They are general. Like, I would have much more respect if a horoscope was really specific. Like, if I opened the newspaper and it was like, Taurus, you will die on Thursday. I'd be
great.
Like, cool.
I'm taking the week off then.
Sweet, you know? Specifics. That's what we need to get to. Specifics with it. You want to use specifics, then I'll sit back and reflect on it. Yes, it's if anyone that's writing the newspaper horoscope could actually see any version of the future, even just feel general ideas, they'd either be snapped up by the military or by investment bankers immediately.
Yeah. Like, I want to know what's happening to my Dogecoin. I don't care when I'm going to meet my, my partner or whatever. I just want to know what's happening with Doge.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just even be more general. You will breathe.
Yeah.
You might look at something. Today you will face challenges. If you don't,
you will look at your phone. You're looking at your phone right now. It's just like, shit, I am.
that would be great. if on the app it just said you will look at your phone, I'd be like, it got me.
Already have. It knew before I looked.
That's one that got me right there. You need to check the Onion. Oh, the Onion parody horoscopes. Absolutely.
I love the Onion.
Yes, absolutely. The Onion. The thing is that the Onion they put out an article a couple of months ago, and it says, like, reality becoming so surreal we can no longer parody it. Because the idea is that it's so dumb, a lot of the weird stuff that's happened, that when you write a parody,
you're not sure if it's real or not.
Exactly, and that I'm pretty sure is one of the signs of the apocalypse. Because we've had a lot of big empires throughout the history of the world, and toward the end of any major empire, you always end up in this situation where you aren't sure if the news is real or false, no matter how extreme it is.
I mean, that reminds me now of just something else. Have you seen all the names of the people that the BBC have sent to report on recent incidents?
Yes, like the guy that was reporting on the fuel shortage, and his name was Phil McCann. Like,
and there was PC Rob Banks.
Yeah, Rob Banks was a policeman.
As a bank robbery.
Yeah, that went to interview a bank robbery. It's ridiculous.
Phil, no, what was his name? Steve, Lieutenant, no.
We can get them up. We're going to get a picture.
Yeah, we can get them up. There was one who was a firefighter that was sent to a house that had burnt down, and his name was something like Les McBurney.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
But the thing is, do you know that if you Google these names, they don't actually exist? These people are not real. So they're literally taking the piss.
Right, so what they're doing is they're using a real reporter, they're putting fake names in order to get meme clickbait, to get views onto their actual site.
Yeah.
Genius. Genius. See, it's clever. You hate it, but it's clever. And
in fact, I need to tell you this because I sent my friend this list, and there's one that it says, it says Rio Olympics, Aaron Farr, but spelt in the Iran Farr. And my mate turns to me and he goes, "There's no way his name's fucking Rio Olympics." And I was absolutely in stitches. And then he just looked at me and he was like, "Shut up."
Oh, brilliant. But yeah,
so there's some good ones.
The simulation is definitely breaking, as people in the chat are saying. What did we start? Where did this whole tangent start from? We started from
love advice, I think.
Love
I
advice.
Think it was love
that
advice.
Was it.
Yeah.
Love advice. Don't have a name like Phil McCann if you want to go and report on a petrol shortage. That's good advice right there.
Yeah.
That was advice. Yes, good advice. Good advice and bad advice. What are the bad advice? Yeah, that was it. Be yourself is terrible advice for 99% of people.
Yeah.
If I was just myself, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. Oh, Josh, just do whatever makes you happy. All right, cool. I'm going to order Uber Eats every day and just live off McDonald's pancakes.
I'm going to move in spoons.
Yeah, straight up. Do what makes you happy. I think, and this is a big one, do what makes you happy is a bad idea. Do what makes you content. Do what makes you satisfied. Do what makes you fulfilled. Because being happy and being fulfilled are two very different things. And I think a lot of people forget this. No one's... Let's say you and me went on a hike up a mountain somewhere.
Yeah.
And we started the day, and it's absolutely chucking it down with rain.
Mm-hmm.
It would make us both happy to go back inside, grab a drink, order a pizza, watch some TV. That'd make us happy. But would it make us...
There's something here that I think a lot of people overlook. Mm-hmm. If you're happy all the time, you're not happy.
Yeah, it becomes normal.
You can't be happy all the time because then you've got higher expectations. Yeah. And you'll eventually get to a point of depression where nothing will make you happier than your average happiness.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're never happy.
There's actually a name for this. It's the systemic equilibrium of your happiness matching up. Seriously.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens with money. If you don't earn that much money, and then suddenly you earn a lot more money, you think you'd be happy forever because you'd be happy with the amount of money you're earning compared to the small amount that you've got. But eventually your lifestyle and your happiness...
That's normal now.
Yeah. You raise, and that's it. And you look at people with more money and you think, okay, that'll make me happy. Now, this is a very important discussion about money. People say, oh, money doesn't make you happy. People who are rich say money doesn't make you happy without realizing the absolute, plethora of problems having money solves. Yeah. It solves so many problems.
Oh, yeah. I can think of about 12 problems in my life right now that money would solve.
Yeah. Having money can't stop you being sad, but it can definitely pay off a hell of a lot of things. I hate it when someone says to me, oh, money doesn't make you happy. Right. It can guarantee a roof over your head. It can guarantee food. It can guarantee education. It can guarantee utilities. It can guarantee that you can, pop out and buy the latest games console. You can get, nice food from these. You can get nice clothes. You can put yourself into a stable, safe position, and then you can challenge yourself. Because I think true happiness and being truly satisfied comes from taking on challenges and succeeding when there is a chance of failure.
Yeah, money can't make you happy, but it can raise the lower bounds of happiness.
Yeah.
But you've then got to constantly do more than that.
Yeah, looking at someone that's struggling to pay rent every month and saying money can't make you happy is an incredibly insensitive thing to say.
Yeah.
People forget and don't realise that having safety and security is massively, massively important to a lot of people.
Oh, gotcha.
So I hope that no matter how much money I ever have in my life, and we all want to be rich. Everyone wants to be rich. I don't ever look at someone with less and go, "Oh, it won't make you happy." Well,
no, it's such a dumb thing to look at.
Because if their roof is leaking and they haven't got, the electricity's about to be cut off, and you're living on 35p noodles, it might make you a bit happier if your house was all fixed up and you were guaranteed rent for the next 10 years and you could get a steak every day. That would probably improve your lot quite a lot.
Yeah. Think about it like this, and this is a weird way to look at it. If you've ever had to go to the job centre and you're like in a line, which we've all been there.
I have, yeah. I was on income support for a long time.
Yeah, that's the word I was after. I've been there as well in the past. You stood in this line of people and you look at them all. They're not there because the money's gonna, just to go and get it. They're there because the money's going to improve something.
Yeah, they need something.
Same with work as well, but even when it's free and it's not, it makes you happy.
So here's one thing that I think. I think being happy, a lot of people think what that means is take the path of least resistance right now to make dopamine happen, which is one of the most dangerous situations you can get into. People say, hey, I want to be happy, therefore I'm going to eat a load of high-fat, high-sugar food. I'm going to sit down and do nothing because exercise hurts and is annoying. I'm going to watch TV and not use my brain and not create anything. Using the path of least resistance to the maximum amount of dopamine at any given time is not a solution for long-term happiness at all. You need not to suffer, but to be challenged. We could go back to the idea of you and me walking up a mountain. If it was pissing it down with rain, dopamine would say, right, you and me go back to house, chill out, get a pizza, get a beer in, let's watch some comedy on the TV. Yeah. Satisfaction, an actual challenge, and a feeling of fulfillment would say, right, let's get a raincoat on and hike up this mountain.
Yeah, let's do it, yeah.
It's going to be horrible. It's going to suck. It's going to be wet and rainy. It's going to be unpleasant. And when we get to the top, it's going to feel awesome.
Yeah, you've got to take the highs with the lows.
Yes.
Same with everything.
And that's one of the big important things. I think what's happening now is, and you see this a lot with endless scrolling, there was actually a video made recently about how endless scrolling on Facebook or Reddit, and we're all guilty of it, is hugely affecting human beings psychologically.
Yeah.
Because what it is it's almost like a little grain of sugar. And every time you scroll, you get another grain of sugar. And you scroll another grain of sugar.
Yeah.
And it's making that dopamine, but it's... And this is how I worked out how absolutely vapid it was. After scrolling through Facebook or Reddit or, whatever for half an hour, I challenged myself to put my phone down and remember one thing that I'd scrolled past. I couldn't.
Yeah. No, that's spot on. In fact, I started doing this about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
I limit myself to 30 to 45 minutes on Facebook a day.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. And you know what? So much happier.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize I was doing it. And it's only when I was looking at like screen time on my phone and I was seeing like 7, 8 hours on Facebook, like actively on it. And I'm thinking to myself, like you just said, what was I looking at?
It's addicting.
I can remember one person got married, someone else is pregnant. Don't know, like that's not 8 hours worth of my day.
And I think what it is one of these things, and there's a really interesting study done on it. A lot of the distraction techniques makes you satisfied with irrelevant stuff. And that's what it is. It turns boredom into irrelevant satisfaction. And you feel that you're achieving something despite not actually achieving anything. Many years ago, when I was in university for the second year, we moved into a student house together, and our landlord told us we weren't going to have the internet for the first 2 or 3 weeks because the internet was still being put in. We bonded more in those 3 weeks. We made a little stupid film. It's still on YouTube somewhere. We walked around. We spoke. We read books. We had a really good time for 3 weeks. As soon as the internet came back, we all thought, great, internet's back. We can be even more productive with it. We weren't.
No.
We weren't at all.
It's I do this as well. We go out, me and my friends, whenever we're out, we don't go on our phones at all.
Good.
Like, we just make sure that no one's got their phones out, and honestly, we just have a great night, like doing whatever we're doing. We can be getting lost in bushes, so like hiking somewhere, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's a good time. And I do the same as well with editing videos. Like, I can get distracted while editing videos. I don't know if you're the same. Like, you always just wander off after about 10 minutes of editing, and then you're on Google, you're doing something else. Do you know about the different work desktops on Windows? You can have 2 completely separated desktops that you can switch between. And the apps that are open on one, stay on that.
Okay.
So I can open up like an editing environment that's got nothing communication-wise on it, and I will just force myself to be on there to edit the video in one go. You can still access your files and everything. It's like a separate desktop. It's so useful, and then you just close it at the end.
Now, I do need to look into becoming more strict with myself on that, but it's this idea of distraction. And I was watching a YouTube video recently where someone challenged themselves, and it sounds to me so simple, but maybe it's a different mindset. Someone challenged themselves to be bored for 24 hours. They said, I'm going to actively be bored for 24 hours. No social media, no TV, no books, no nothing. Just sit and be bored. You can drink, and you can get a very limited amount of food. And that's it. Just you and your thoughts. And within 6 hours, the guy gave up. Because he couldn't be bored. He had to be engaged. I mean, Bo Burnham got it spot on. Apathy is a tragedy and boredom is a crime. You have to be engaged all the time, consistently, forever. And the moment your brain is unplugged and no longer engaged, people don't know what to do.
Yeah, because your brain has told you for the last, 20-something years that you need to be doing something all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like having ADHD. I think ADHD's like, you know how they say that everyone's on the spectrum with autism, just depending on the degree. Yeah. I think it's the same with ADHD. Everyone is somewhere on the spectrum with it, but you just can't sit and do nothing.
Yeah,
because if you do, you'll go mad.
Yeah, ADHD is hyperactivity, attention deficit. It doesn't mean you can't pay attention to anything.
Yeah,
it means you can pay attention to certain things that actually engage you. And I think a lot of great artists over the years, and the last hundreds or thousands of years, great artists and going into the future will absolutely have some form of either ADD or ADHD, because you need to focus to an unhealthy degree on your thing to become a master at it. Having any kind of attention disorder doesn't mean that you only have a 10-second attention span. Because people say, oh, I can't focus, I've got ADD. I can't focus, I've got this.
It's that you need to focus.
Yeah, it's that you can focus on certain specific things better than others.
Mm-hmm.
And being bored is fine. I honestly think being bored is a really important part of life.
Yeah, because you appreciate the other things.
And you learn who you are. When you're alone with your thoughts, you realise what you care about, what you think about, what actually matters to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being bored is
important.
Vital. It's super important to be bored. So to link this back to relationship advice, being bored can sometimes be good.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the advice right there.
That's solid advice.
That is solid advice. Let's talk about New World, unless you have anything to add to the boredom.
I don't have anything to add to that. I think we've just swept all of that up, haven't we?
Good. We've cuddled that. Right, New World. That's been out all day. I've been playing that all day. It's all right.
I'm hearing very mixed feedback on it. And it's kind of strange because these aren't just people who've just picked it up. This is people that have played the beta.
Okay.
And they enjoyed the beta.
Yeah. I played the beta. I enjoyed it. I'm playing it now. I'm enjoying it. I think the New World is really high quality and relatively shallow. And relatively short.
Yeah. And that's kind of my opinion on it as well. Everyone keeps saying to me, oh, are you going to be playing New World? And I thought about it. I was like, I already have.
It's 3D RuneScape with no quest lines and stories and no specific endgame bosses as of yet. It's fun for a bit. The gathering's great, the crafting's great. I think, however, it's managed to do one thing really well that is going to set it apart. I've always maintained that MMORPGs are actually badly designed games. The actual gameplay of an MMO is not good, because if you had it as a single-player game, you'd quit straight away. What MMOs are is a social facilitator. It's a vehicle for social cohesion, for multiplayer gameplay, for distraction-based grind and whatnot. And one of the reasons Warcraft became so damn famous was simply because everyone played it. It reached a critical mass of players. And it was social. And that was the big thing with it. I think New World might have done it. It might have managed to hit that social threshold, that social snowball level.
Yeah, I definitely think it's hit the social threshold. It's just a matter of...
Can it hold it?
Can it hold it? It's got a strong start, but... Me, as someone who tried out quite a lot of stuff in the beta, feels like I have exhausted everything. And that's a real bad feeling to have for a 1 month beta.
Some people in the chat are saying, is it like Pokemon Go? It hit an incredible start. It got everyone together. These societies formed. People made bonds over it. And then slowly but surely you realise that actually the journey from start to finish is the content. And then when you get to the end, the content drops off heavily, and then is it going to be strong enough to maintain people? Because
I don't think so.
No, right now we're adventuring through, and it's the adventure from start to finish that people are enjoying sharing. Once everyone's at the finish, is there enough? Let's imagine that New World didn't have levels. Let's imagine that you started New World right now, absolutely everyone starts at max level. Would you keep playing? I don't think there's enough.
There's nothing. Honestly, if you look at what's changed, they've made some good changes from the beta to now.
Yeah.
But it's not content.
No.
The PvP change is a big one, but that change is something you were going to either do anyway or not.
I think it is worth the $40 to play, but it's worth $40 in the same way that God of War or the Spider-Man games are worth $40. You play them, they're great fun, you enjoy the story, you experience them, you're probably not going to play them forever. You're not going to come back to them again. It's a good experience. There's no sub fee either. So if you imagine a $10 a month sub fee, if you can get 4 months of play out of New World, which I think is probably about the amount of content that it's got for a casual player, that's it.
I think New World's going to run into a problem that they don't even see coming themselves, and it's going to be the fact that, like I say, I played for 2 weeks of the beta, and I really felt that I'd exhausted content, and then I realised the end game content, there's really not a lot.
No,
so when I do reach the end game, I'm not going to continue playing. It's not going to be a World of Warcraft situation where I go and do raids every week and like there's something to look forward to. I just felt like if I wasn't going to PvP, which I wasn't, there's nothing for me.
I've not seen almost anyone flagged for PvP yet. It was meant to be a PvP game. I've told people multiple times the PvP MMORPG player base is nowhere near as big as they claim it is. And they said, hey, we're going to make a full PvP game. Okay, maybe you can flag on or off PvP. I've not seen anyone flagged for PvP at all.
Somebody did the maths with that as well. You get 5% bonus XP, don't you, for having...
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah. No, if you die twice, that 5% is negated completely. Because the walk back to your area where you died is a long walk, and then you've got to rebuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got to, there's all these extra penalties that you don't even realise. You're wasting 20 minutes of an hour dying, and the 5% is just not worth it unless you're a literal god. And even in that case, that you're a literal god, the PvP situations that you find yourself in will take so long to get through that the 5% doesn't even matter.
No. Now,
you're subsidising then.
People have asked in the chat, how long are people going to care about which faction owns which town? So, factions can own towns. There's 3 main factions, and depending on which faction owns the town, you can set the taxation rates for using crafting tables. You can set the taxation rates for owning property from like 0% to 10%. No one cares. No one is going to say, hey, I could craft this weapon in this town, or I could pull all my stuff out of this town, run all the way to another town, craft the weapon over there, and pay less tax. No one's going to do that. It's 5%. Everyone's just going to pay the tax wherever they are.
Yeah. And that's another thing that has severely put me off, and you've brought this up, non-universal banking.
Oh, I don't like it. I've told people it doesn't work. I've been against it for ages.
2 weeks playing that game, and I did not touch the bank as soon as I found out. As soon as I realised that it was instance banking or location-specific banking, my inventory I was a pack yak at that point. I just carried everything around.
For anyone unsure, let's say there are 10 towns in New World. I'm not sure how many there are, but let's say there are 10. Every town has a bank. Banks are not connected. So if you bank at one town and go to another, you do not have access to your stuff in that town.
Yep.
You need to go back to the other bank and get it out. Now, they've said, it makes it more interesting and more believable. No.
No, it doesn't. It has made me avoid a feature of your game.
Yeah.
Entirely.
You're making banking more complicated than it needs to be.
And then you've got to remember what you've put where. So, like, imagine this. You're going to craft an item and you need this legendary steel or something. Now, I did have one a week ago, but did I sell it or is it in a bank? And you're now just playing Tour de France around the entire world to each bank.
Thankfully, they've added in a drop-down menu in the banks where you can actually see what you've got in other banks now. So you can go to one bank and then you can click View Other Banks and you can see what's in the other banks.
Right.
Hang on. If 2 settlements have the same faction control, you can pay to transfer those items.
It's just adding extra steps. What's the point?
Look at it this way. If anyone in the chat is questioning it, look at it this way. Is that a feature that you would actively and proudly and excitedly tell a new player to get them into the game? If that feature is not something that you would actively, champion, then it can be changed until it is a feature that you would champion. People have tried to justify bad design by saying, you can get around it by doing this. If you have to do something to get around it, you're not actually doing it, which means it is bad.
Yeah, we did discuss this at the start of Nightmare World development, whether we wanted this. Some people wanted this. They were like, we want it to be immersive. And I was like, I can tell you now, if Nightmare World launched with instance banking, I would legit not play it.
Yeah.
For that as a sole reason.
I think a lot of game developers and game designers use the word immersive wrong.
Yeah.
I think people use the word immersive when they are trying to justify obsolete, awkward, or just obtuse design choices. You can only wear, X amount of weight of stuff. It's immersive. You can only store in the banks. It's immersive. No. It's a game. The game needs to be fun to play to the demographic you're aiming at. If you want to aim at the incredibly hardcore, Mortal Online, Life is Feudal style demographic, cool. Aim at the really hardcore, put a load of hardcore systems in that make it incredibly hard to play. You want to aim at the much more casual player base, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, aim at those guys. Don't put hardcore or difficult or obtuse systems into your otherwise very accessible game and use the word immersive to justify it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a complicated workaround because now what was it we were discussing about this? There was something important. So they're talking about realism, and it's like, okay, but what do you know in the real world where I can go and put 85 million gold coins, a horse, and 3 spears into a deposit box or my inventory? Now, if you're not going to make it realistic across the board, why is the system being made realistic in the least useful way?
People are saying in the chat now, are you arguing there should be no weight limit, or are you arguing against encumbrance and repairs? This is the thing with game design, guys. There is no 100% right or wrong choice. There are varying degrees of demographics that you're aiming at. So if I say I don't enjoy X system, people always jump at me and go, oh, so you're saying that this and this and this and this and this. No. Weight limits that a character carry can absolutely be a decent use, a decent mechanic in the game. You need to work out what kind of player you want to aim at. Do you want to have no weight limits whatsoever and not have it affect anything? RuneScape, you can carry a hell of a lot of weight, but it drains your run quicker, and you can't make agility jumps when you try to make agility jumps. Some games, you can't move when you're carrying too much stuff.
Yeah, it makes total sense. RuneScape has added the weight limit because, and their inventory at a set size, because their game is very heavily based. Their fights are balanced around how much shit can I bring to this fight.
Yeah.
Not how much can I heal with spells. It's how many sharks can I bring. So they have to be balanced around that. Other games that have almost infinite, inventory size, they can't balance around that. Like, oh, this person can bring 7,800 health potions, but they're not going to because they'll be walking at 10% of the speed. And it's a restriction. It's just how you restrict.
And it is a lot about balance. It's about balancing the game. So when people say, oh, the banks aren't all centrally connected in New World, what is that balancing? Is that trying to encourage people in factions to take over the town in order to connect their banks? Because if you look at it that way, there's only ever going to be one faction that can take over everything and connect all their banks together.
Yeah.
If that happened, do you think players would do that? If players logged on to a new server and one faction had already taken over and you were told, hey, if you join this faction, you can access your banks from anywhere. That's going to be a pretty big pull to join that faction.
Yeah, it's a snowball effect. If one's winning, why would you not join them?
Exactly.
And here's the thing. If you say to me, oh, you can access all of your things if you control all of these, rather than try and control all of these, I'm just not going to bank. It's that simple. I'm just not going to bank, because then my stuff can get locked in a bank that we don't control. I've got to go back and fight to get my shit back, or I just don't bank it.
And
Do I really need space? No.
This is where a lot of players fail to understand what we're thinking about as designers. What we're thinking about is, when you put a design into a game, it will appeal to some people and it will not appeal to other people. If you want to make a successful MMORPG, you need to appeal to more people than you don't appeal to.
Yeah.
And MMORPG players have come to expect certain qualities of life as standard.
Global banking is a standard. It really is. It's one of those things that if I don't even question if it's a feature that you're not even going to question on release if the game has it or not, it's standard. You should have it.
Yeah. It's called massive for a reason. It needs to appeal to a lot of people. I see this with a lot of people who are contacting me saying they're making an MMO. They want to take a standard feature, such as banking, and they want to find a way to make it different just for the sake of being different.
Yeah.
Change for the sake of change. We're not going to have our system be like this, our system's going to be like this, simply because it's different. Okay, don't change things just because they're different. Work out how you're going to improve or appeal to more people than you've got now. I mean, the whole point of money was so global banking could be established in the real world. That was the point.
I think I've got a fix for this as well.
Okay.
That would appeal to both. Have a bank that is global from every city you can access this bank. Have a extended bank that is not. If you've got all this shit that needs to be stored everywhere, do it. Otherwise, you'll limit yourself, but you can access it from everywhere, and that way you can have your important stuff on demand, and the stuff that doesn't really matter too much, like, I don't know, lumber or stone, and like things that you're only really going to use specifically in this city when you're crafting. You keep it there.
Or you could have a central bank that has a slight tax to use. No,
Either.
Free storage in cities with a big central bank that has a small tax transaction fee. Be a great gold sink for the game as well.
Good.
Not enough that you're going to notice it too much, but enough that if enough people do it over a long enough period of time, you're going to take a lot of money out of the game.
Someone says in my chat, crafting bags are a blessing. That's people now trying to work their way around having to use this system. But if they've added this as a workaround, why keep the system?
Mm-hmm.
I hate it.
When you look at a feature in an MMORPG, you need to make players, and then this is what we talked about earlier, happy versus satisfied, content versus, achievement stuff. You want to give players a challenge. That's fine. We need to challenge players. You need to challenge them to make good choices, to make, complicated choices. You don't want to challenge them by specifically making features in your game just needlessly complex on purpose. Yeah. Challenge is not giving a player a less than optimal system and saying, work around this. Challenge is giving the players the best game you possibly can, and then the best use of those complexities that you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a balance to be found, and I don't think New World has found it yet.
Yeah. In fact, Piprod in my chat has made a comment that I think is worth talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I spent 10 hours in Motherlode Mine to be able to get the coal bag. Mm-hmm. Now, that's different. I think that's trying to advocate that, if you're trying to work your way around a system, that can be cool. Now, here's the thing. You could still carry coal before. Now you can carry more as a reward.
Yeah.
In New World, it's you've had something taken away from you, and now you need to actively... work your way around that thing that was taken from you. That's not fun.
You've not chosen to get the coal bag because it's the only way you could do it. You've chosen to get the coal bag to improve
efficiency
and increase a system that you've already had access to. You are actively, and this is a big thing, actively working for a benefit versus actively working to remove a debuff.
A hindrance,
If you were to say, hey, the game is going to start, you're going to have 20 inventory spaces, and if you work, really hard, you can buy with in-game gold an extra 5. Okay, cool. That's working to gain an advantage. Working to gain that one. If you said to someone, hey, you start with 25 inventory spaces, and if you don't pay this much gold in-game each month, we're going to take them away from you.
Yeah.
That's then working to stop a debuff. It's a psychological thing. You want the audience, you want the player to work to gain something, not to work so they prevent the loss of something.
Yeah, and this is a good way to visualize game development. Imagine a timeline, right? But like here is no power, here is maximum power. That bar should only ever go that way, never go backwards. You shouldn't be taking stuff away from people to make them earn it back, because it becomes a vicious cycle where people just go, I can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
And then they'll just quit.
People in the chat are mentioning, could use the same argument, though, for damage and killing mobs, gaining advantages by trying to work up for extra damage. Yeah, absolutely, which is why the Elder Scrolls Online did it really badly. Because the Elder Scrolls Online had this thing where, let's say you were level 10 using a level 10 sword, you would do full damage. If you reached level 20 and you were still using the level 10 sword, you would actually do less damage. Because
than at level 10.
Correct. You now need to level up to use a level 20 sword to go back to full damage. It's making you catch up to where you are with items, and it's almost punishing you for not doing that instead of rewarding you for doing that. You don't want to punish a player for playing a game in the way they want to play it, but you also need to find a way to reward players when they play in the way that you want to encourage. And a lot of people like to use any examples as gotcha moments. We'll explain game design and someone will go, well, it worked differently here, gotcha. Well, game design is a very complicated thing. If we'd have solved it by now, we'd have one game that everyone's playing.
Yeah.
Different things appeal to different people. You need to find out what kind of demographic do you want to appeal to, and then stick with it.
Yeah, that's important. And that should be something you quiz yourself on with everything you're adding to your game.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
Who is sticking with your game? Who are you appealing to? Some people will be out there going, oh, I love the decentralized banks. Other people will be out there going, oh, I hate the decentralized banks. You need to work out which of those demographics you want to appeal to, and then make more updates that they would like. Because if you try and appeal to both of them, you will appeal to no one. If you try and be super duper general, ain't going to work. You have to work out who you're going to appeal to.
If you're everybody's cup of tea, you're a mug.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Work out how you're going to appeal to the demographic you want to appeal to. Have you guys played New World? If you have, what do you think the best or the worst? Because this is a personal thing, I actually like the limited skill selection. The fact you can only have 3 skills of any weapon, switching weapon to your secondary weapon, and then you've got dodges as well. So you've got 3 skills on your primary weapon, 3 skills on your secondary weapon, dodges, basic attacks, heavy attacks. So at any point, you've got about 9 things in combat you could do.
Yeah.
At any given moment.
But the amount of selections you could possibly have are huge. So many different builds.
You're actually building yourself up and you're preparing before you go into combat.
Yeah.
Which I like a lot. I very, very much like that. I think it's a good idea to have people tactically build what they want to have before they go into combat, and if it doesn't work, then they can come back, then they can change the build around, then come on. It's actually reminding me a lot of Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, that's a good question for my chat. How much theory crafting have you done for your build? And how many times have you changed what you've actually built based off your theory crafting? Because that's something I'd find very interesting to find out.
I've not actually theory crafted at all. I've literally picked up some weapons, used them, got the skills, and just learned how I can use the things. I'm probably being really inefficient, but I've actually made a promise to myself. I'm going to play inefficiently. I'm going to play this game like I played RuneScape when I was 16. I'm going to wear dragon plate legs, I'm going to wear rune chain body, I'm going to use an adamant scimitar, I'm going to use a blue cape, and I'm going to have a great time. And people are going to look at me and go, you're an idiot. You're playing wrong. And I'll say, am I? Am I?
No.
Am I playing right?
You're playing right because it's the way you want to play.
Yeah,
people need to remember that not everybody is going for min-max efficiency.
Yeah,
there are people that just jump in, enjoy it, don't Google.
Yeah. I'm using a spear and a hammer in New World, and people are saying, why are you using 2 melee weapons? It's simple. Because I can stab, stab.
Fucking clobber you.
Big stab, big hit, big sweepy hit, go back to stab. Lots of stabbing.
My answer to that was, well, it's not really 2 melee weapons because you're going to see my spear coming from the other end of the map.
Correct. You've got the spear javelin throw, which is awesome. Potentially one of the best things.
That is the best thing in the game for me.
Well,
honestly,
I love it.
Love it. It just feels good.
Yeah, it does.
It really feels good.
The impact. They've got the audio, they've got the visual, they've got the enemy being knocked down, they've got the sound. It's chunky. It's lovely.
I know what sold it to me.
What's that?
So the audio, if you turn the audio off, it just feels lackluster. But because it's 3D spatial audio, you hear it in the ear that you throw it over.
Yep.
And you just, it's so good.
And then you hear that thunk when it hits the enemy. You've even got the ability, one of the upgrades is knockdown. And that's the first.
I picked that as well.
You choose that straight away.
If you're hunting someone down, straight in the back.
Yeah, the hatchet throw too. I think one of the things that people have come into New World combat expecting just going through a load of buttons on the keyboard, playing it like an actual keyboard style of World of Warcraft, 1 2 1 1 3 1 2 1 7 1. When actually it's much more action based and it's much more reaction based, which I like a lot. I really enjoy it.
I enjoyed the combat. Yeah. I really did. I just hate, I've got one criticism. The animation stalling is too much.
Yeah. Oh, it really is. Do you mean
some moves where you just start to do the move and you're locked in an animation? Like the spear throw is a good example. Day one, it would freeze you on the spot when you threw. You couldn't throw while running.
Yeah.
And you just lock in place until it hits the target or until it lands somewhere and then it unlocks you. Yeah. That was horrendous.
See,
but they've still got some.
The enemy flash kind of like a translucent white before they do a big attack. And if you press shift to dodge, in theory, you're meant to be able to dodge out the way. Now, when your animation in the middle of an attack, you can't dodge in your animation. And I personally think if you're going to add a dodge mechanic into a game, it needs to dodge the moment you click dodge.
Yeah. Good example.
Yeah.
Was it called Fend with the spear, where you do like 6 jabs in a row?
Yep.
When you jump in and jab, I want to be able to roll away after the 3rd jab to avoid a swing. And people are like, oh no, but you should be locked in. It's a commitment using that move. Yeah, and my punishment for rolling away is I lose half the damage of that move.
Yes. The commitment is, if I've always been a big fan of, if you're going to give me a big, powerful, damaging move, have the damage come at the end of the move. So if you want like a big sweeping attack, have me pull the spear back and then do a big sweeping attack, which gives my opponent, if they're a human being, chance to see it coming and move out of the way, and it gives me, if I'm fighting an enemy, an NPC, I need to know, right, I need to find the moment when the NPC has already committed to an attack so I can dodge, set myself up, and do that big attack.
I agree.
I think that dodging needs to immediately cancel stuff and allow you to dodge.
Yeah.
But then limit the dodges, because there are only 2 dodges. You have 100% stamina, each dodge uses 50%, and then have it charge. I would actually be okay with the stamina charging very slightly slower if I could dodge immediately. You want to add Twitch combat to a game, which is very, very fast-paced combat? Give me full command, full control of it.
Yeah. I think it's something they need to work on, because I know that was off-putting for a lot of people. In fact, I would say that was one of the reasons that I didn't go back in after launch. Because I was just sick of the animation lock-in. Everything just felt really janky. And even as an example, this was like a minor pet peeve. But say with that Fend ability where you do the 6 jabs. Let's say I've jumped at an enemy and I'm jabbing him, and there's one to my left. I turn my camera to go and start walking to the left. As soon as that animation finishes, my camera resets, looking the way it was. And now I'm walking forwards again, and it's just like, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, the rapier has the quick skill dodge, so they do have the ability to, and there is animation cancelling, and people have discovered that you can attack, run, jump, roll, switch, attack, switch, roll. There is a method of animation cancelling to make the switches on your weapons quicker, but unfortunately, if that's going to be a thing, they need to either lean really heavily into it, or they need to just make the combat system faster.
Yeah.
I want to be able to tank a boss by dodging. If you're good enough to dodge out the way of attacks, that's fine. We're talking about New World, sinners. If anyone new to the stream, we're talking about the New World, Amazon's MMORPG, and we're talking about the combat in it. So good question. Which of these issues do you think has the most negative impact on the game? That's a really good question. What is the single biggest negative with Amazon's New World? I think personally it's going to be lack of... I think we're going to see it within the next 3 months. In 3 months, we're going to see the end game.
I think sooner.
You think sooner?
I think way sooner.
Okay.
Genuinely. I'm thinking... How long's it been out now? Like, what, 3 days?
Yeah. I mean, we've got people at the end game already.
I'd give it end of the month, and we'll have another look at player numbers, because I can guarantee... You'd expect, an early surge of people, and if it's a good game, they'd be getting friends into it. They'd be like, yo, just come play New World with me. And it would go up at the end of the first month. I think we're going to see a massive dip. Like, I'm thinking 50% plus dip.
Do you think, and this is a really big one, people like to use the amount of players a game has lost against it? Instead of saying, hey, this game has X amount of players, they'll say, it did have this, it now has this. Apparently, they've reported over 900,000 players.
Yeah.
900.
I heard bang on 1 million recently.
I wouldn't doubt it's got up to 1 million players. If it has up to 1 million players, let's say it drops down to 100,000. Now, if a game has 100,000 players, it's actually incredibly successful.
Yeah.
A game with 100k players, immensely successful. But people are going to say, hey, dead game, 90% loss. That's what they're going to say.
And this is why on-release numbers are a blessing and a curse to the developers. They can brag right now that they've got 1 million concurrent players, or 1 million players that are, actively logging in this week. But then they're going to have to report how many they have at the end of the month. And it's always less. It is always less.
They will. What do you think New World has done that has increased MMO productivity in terms of design and interfaces compared to Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy XIV? So... the actual design of New World is remarkably similar to the Elder Scrolls Online, because you don't have much of a UI, and there's no minimap either. So remarkably close as far as ESO goes. It's much closer to Elder Scrolls Online than a lot of other games out there right now. What has it done? Because I think right now what it's done, and this sounds weird, what it's done is it's been successful.
Yeah.
Imagine if it didn't have as many players as it does, if it just released. Imagine if Amazon didn't make this. If another studio made this and it just released as it is now, and people were like, hey, New World's pretty good, would it have this level of success? Or do you think the success is being driven by the fact that Amazon owned Twitch?
I think the success is being driven by a few things that people don't even consider.
Mm-hmm.
One, they own AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, for those who don't know. Amazon Web Services is fucking expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we went to use it for Nightmare World, and we were like, oh, absolutely not, no.
Yep.
But it is very good. So they've got that free of charge. They're paying the electricity for it, that's it, right? They've got so many other things, Twitch drops, Twitch itself. It's almost endless, really. They had really good pre-order terms and conditions for, on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I pre-ordered it, paid for it, and there was you could cancel it up until the week before it launches.
Yeah.
But you've reserved your copy.
Yeah.
So it was basically a risk-free buy-in. There were so many things that Amazon have leveraged, and they've leveraged them very well. I mean, Lumberyard, is it their new game engine? They've hyped that up. That's what that was built in.
People are asking about whether they've removed the Twitch integration. I think they might have done, because I can't seem to find it anymore. What they've got is, I actually saw on the Amazon's New World site, there is a list of official streamers. And they've actually got a list of streamers and the worlds that they are on. So Amazon seem to have this thing where they've kind of got approved streamers, if you will, which is a shame, because I would have happily linked my Twitch up to it and streamed and tried to get you guys some Twitch drops in the game. That would have been great, but no, I can't seem to find the Twitch integration for it anymore, which is a real shame. I would have wanted to. I would have happily done that, but no. People are saying that it's a streamer's game. Seeing as it's about controlling large territories and you need a lot of people to do that, I can see streamers having a huge advantage.
This was something I was going to bring up. Big streamers are already like swaying in their favor on any realm that they're on.
Yeah.
And they're just steamrolling, completely steamrolling anyone that's not on the streamer's side. And it's causing huge disparity between the factions, the three different factions. I think, was it Asmongold went on one realm, and it was something like an 88%, had joined his faction.
Sounds about right.
88% of the world. So why would you not? Like we said earlier.
Yeah.
You've now got okay, I could just join Asmongold's faction, and I'm set forever because it's Asmongold's, or I could go and get absolutely stamped on.
Yeah.
For no benefits.
Why would you choose? It's not even that you're the underdog that might win. It's that you're the underdog that is going to lose.
Going to get battered.
Because streams are going to be you against Asmongold, and you won't win.
And this is a big issue with faction-based games. I don't know how to correct this, because if you're visually able to tell who's winning, why would you go with the other side?
This actually intrigues me, because actually it makes factions pointless. I mean, just bear with me and keep in the chat, see if you understand. Let's say that you start a game and there are 3 factions, because people like having 3 factions. 3 is a good number to work with. It multiplies by a lot and it works out with a lot of numbers. 3 factions. The great thing at the start is any one of them could win, and all of them want to win. As soon as one of them wins, it's over. As soon as one of them starts to succeed, the other 2 play Kingmaker. This is what people think happens. The other 2 play Kingmaker and crush it down together. When actually what happens is, one starts to succeed, people in the 2 losing factions switch sides, and then it just steamrolls. As soon as one faction wins, you're not going to see the other 2, bring up. So what you should do is, hey, you should have one faction can't gain more than a certain amount of power, or when a faction is low, you support them with NPCs and stuff. Okay, so you're forcing equality into this. In that case, what's the point in having factions?
Yeah, I was going to say this. One way that would be really good to do this in a sense is how they do matchmaking lobbies. Let's say you join, it puts you on the team with the least, and it constantly just, ping pongs, putting you on the team with the least. Well, one, you're going to have a hard time getting in with your friends, unless you're factionless for a while and you say, notify me when there's space on this team.
Yeah.
That's one way to stop. And you'd have to base it off active concurrent players for each faction. Otherwise, it's just going to be like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. The other solution is you reset it every now and again. The problem with the MMO is it's the forever game, and people think that their actions now should resonate in 10 years' time. Okay, you can become a legend, but maybe not actually still control the world. If you want to, reset the factions, make a percentage, and switch. Hey, this month this faction won. This month this faction won. Reset it monthly seems fine. One of the biggest things that I really don't like about New World was I was forced to choose a faction.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I wanted to play factionless the entire time. Elder Scrolls Online kind of resets it. Guild Wars 2, resets it as well for the factions bonus. People seem to think that their work on an MMORPG should last forever. And you join a faction, you progress through it, and then 10 years down the line, your progress is still important. That's not a great way to have a sustainable game.
No, it's not. And I don't know how to fix that. This seems to be a fundamental flaw with MMOs. And the only way that I can think to fix it is by doing what RuneScape did, which a lot of people are against, but it works. Make the content take so long to do that it is a reward, because it literally takes that amount of time to do. So, for example, if Jagex add a new skill to RuneScape, it will probably take them 6 months of actual development, to take a similar skill and branch it out to this new one. They'll take a template. But for the average person to complete that content, it takes longer than it does to develop.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of MMOs now, because of the fidelity of graphics and that, can't do. Like a quest in Mists of Pandaria, let's say in WoW, Mists of Pandaria, a quest would take a developer a day to make, probably, art-wise and all that. You know how long it takes me to do? 30 seconds. It's not a sustainable business model. It never will be.
People are saying, what do you think about Final Fantasy XIV's faction system with its grand companies? I think that's great, because that's not about beating the other two. The faction system fails because it's about one of them winning, and it's about two factions therefore losing.
Yeah.
Factions can be fine if you want to join them in-game for personal, and someone else made a really good comment, it should be personal progress, not necessarily game world progress.
Yeah.
If you want to build up a town and have it be built or be saved by a faction, that's fine. If that town changes factions, don't destroy the town.
Yep.
The problem is that factions and having an allegiance to something appeals to a very herd mentality. It appeals to this very kind of cult-like, or even, what's the word I'm thinking of? Kind of football tribalism. It would appeal to that, and that isn't always super sustainable. You need to have it where it appeals to people who want to play the game because it's fun. Us versus them. You make it us versus them, and it's not great. 3 factions work fine pre-internet. 3 factions work fine in offline games. Command and Conquer, StarCraft, Warcraft, that kind of stuff. As soon as you bring it online, it's... Is it adding more to the long-term gameplay than it's taking away?
Here's the thing. If the factions have some sort of element of power or convenience tied to them, that's always going to be a problem. Whereas if factions are purely a visual representation that don't make them any more powerful than you, it doesn't matter. But people want impact.
People want to feel...
They don't like it when they're on the receiving end of that impact.
People want to feel that they can change the world, but then they don't like it when someone else changes their world.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Everyone wants to be the powerful one, but no one wants to accept that there will always be 2 or 3 more factions more powerful than you. People want... This sounds like the argument of a solo player in an MMO world. No, it's the argument of designing an MMORPG to appeal to a broad number of people and not have people leave. Because we've got definitive proof that a lot of MMORPG players are solo players. And if you don't appeal to them, your player base is going to dwindle.
Yeah.
It's horrific. It's horrible. It's not always fun. And a lot of people like to come at me with arguments and say, oh, you don't like this, you just personally hate this. I'm trying to look at it from a numbers point of view. I'm trying to look at it from a longevity point of view. Because a lot of people seem to like Life is Feudal's MMO's, design. Life is Feudal was great. You could do everything. You could kill anyone. You could destroy other people's houses. Life is Feudal shut down.
Yep.
It's once you're tasked with designing something, it's also about being responsible for that thing's life.
Yeah, and talking about the nobody wants to be beaten kind of thing. If you look at the high-end gameplay for Ark, my brother used to play a hell of a lot of Ark. He's got like 6K hours or something on it. It's absurd. And they were always part of these mega tribes. And he says to me, he's like, oh, we just absolutely trash everything on the server. Like, nobody can raid us. We just destroy bases. And now imagine you're the other people that are joining and starting small tribes and trying to work your way up to the top. You're never going to.
Yeah.
You're absolutely never going to. So it's fun for you, but you're the only one on that server having fun.
People are saying in the chat, I think looking at numbers is what's taking the fun out of the game. What we're doing is, well, if the game is fun, the numbers will be higher because more people will be playing it. So if we design
unless they mean like gear wise and stuff.
If we design something that's fun for 1,000 people, great. You design something that's fun for 100,000 people, you're going to have more people playing your game. And if you're an MMORPG, you want people playing your game. People look at, they look at Final Fantasy and they say, oh, Final Fantasy 14 isn't fun for me because I can't grief other players, I can't destroy their progress, I can't go and smack down their player housing. Most successful MMORPG in the world right now. Yeah. You need to, at some point, look into the idea of appealing to more people. Really good point as well. The sell is honourable combat, but PvP in MMOs is not now and never has been honourable.
No,
because it has no
I'm just
going to
say classic WoW rogues. All I'm saying.
Yeah, it's people think they've got this idea of PvP in their head being honourable warrior from one faction fighting legendary warrior from another faction on a mountaintop as heavy metal plays in the background with thunder and lightning clashing, and the winner will be respected for all time. No, it's one person climbing the mountaintop and then 4 other mid-level players ganking and stun-locking them. It is not this legendary, beautiful, clash of wills that people thought it was.
Yeah. The idea, it's great in idea, awful in practice.
Yeah. In Game of Thrones, when Bronn is fighting the armoured-up champion, and he beats him and throws him through the moon door, and the woman says, you don't fight with honour, and Bronn goes, no, he did, and nods to the guy that he threw out. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Everyone wants to PvP and cast themselves as the honourable, as the hero. Yeah. And then when they realise that actually that's not the way to win, that's the problem. That is the problem. They should make PvP activities that don't require combat, like races to finish quests. Yeah, like when you've got Guild Wars 2 with its jumping puzzles. I think they're great. I think they are really,
Guild Wars 2
great.
Jumping puzzles were some of the best.
Guild Wars 2 was a great game. It was a really good, enjoyable, casual MMORPG that appealed to as many people as it could by not allowing players to grief or ruin other players' experiences and making everything as accessible as it could be. And even though a lot of people don't like it, it has survived a long time.
And do you know what? This ties in weirdly to the whole metaverse thing, where it's the metaverse. You can do anything you want. That sounds fucking awful.
Yeah, it does.
That sounds like a Minecraft unprotected server spawn.
I was running through New World earlier, and I ran past a boulder that I could mine. And then I ran past a massive boulder that I could not mine. And I thought, if this were a game where I could do whatever I want, I'd be able to mine that massive boulder, but doing so would also fundamentally change the landscape around here. And if I could do whatever I want, I'd be able to burn a city down, I'd be able to drain the lake, I'd be able to chop down the entire forest, and people go, oh yeah, that sounds great. No, it'd be crap. It'd be awful to play, because you'd have no cities, no forest, and no boulders. Within a day, you'd have a wasteland.
Yeah. It's a fundamental problem, because people said that the appeal of Dreamworld, like when we asked people, why did you back it? And they're like, because it's the everything game. You can do anything. Right, well, Skezo put down 500,000 peppers. He got banned. I dug a massive hole to the centre of the earth. I got banned. We got banned for doing what we wanted, for doing whatever, without limits. And then they said, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that. Okay, so why have you allowed me to do that?
When you say you can do whatever you want, what people What inexperienced, naive people hear is we're going to get a load of similar gold people, similar ideas people, and we're going to create the utopia. No. What you're going to get is griefers. You need limitations within your online game. Anarchy does not work as a sustainable long-term system.
Yep.
And every system wants to, at some point, devolve into chaos. Every system in any part of life, whether it's a game, it's political, whatever, every system will ultimately head to anarchy unless it's curated.
Yeah.
And video game systems need to be curated.
Yeah, look at it like this. So Dreamworld, after our escapades with digging to the centre of the earth and pepper bombing the server, they added a thing where at the end of every week, it will regenerate any terrain that has been changed. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? Because if I now dig underground and make a base, that's going to be filled in on Friday. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to do that because it's a waste of time. Or I'm going to do it, find out that this is a thing, and be pissed off. It's like this never-ending cycle of give and take, but you can't give without people taking too much. Like them saying to me, yeah, you can put peppers down, but don't put 500,000 down. Mm-hmm. Right, so when 500,000 players all put 1 pepper down, what's your solution then?
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you remove half of those? Who do you take them from?
All video games exist within a framework of what the player can and cannot do, what the player is encouraged to do, and what the player is discouraged from doing. When you say you can do anything, what you're actually telling the player is we don't necessarily have a goal of what you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
We've not built anything for you. We've given you a sandbox. And the reason I don't like sandbox design is I often find it's remarkably lazy. Now, some sandbox design, amazing. Minecraft, incredible. So much work has gone into that. You can create a hell of a lot. What I see sandbox design used as is defense against any kind of criticism. Hey, where are your quests? We don't have any, it's sandbox. Okay, where's your player-owned housing? You can build whatever you want, it's sandbox. Okay, why are people going to hang around?
This is... A lot of people probably won't agree with me on this, but using Dreamworld as an example, it's the ultimate sandbox game. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it actually is? It's a game engine with a few restrictions on it, because the terrain deformation is game engine. It's straight from in the game engine. They've not made it. Placing assets is just using the Unreal Engine's calls to spawn an asset. It is the most bare bones version of a game engine, but they've just limited some of the things you can do. Like, you can spawn whatever you want, but it can't be bigger than this. And it's...
People are saying, what do we think about Albion Online or Eve? Again, I think this is a perfect example of how if a game hits a social
critical mass.
A critical mass of players, it will continue because it will start to spawn its own stories. Imagine if Eve Online didn't exist and then Eve Online released today. Imagine if the game released today and it didn't build up to the height that it is at now. Would people keep playing it? Well, the people that enjoy it, definitely. They would absolutely keep playing it. But it maybe wouldn't start to spawn all these crazy stories that we read around. No. Albion Online has done well because it appealed to and targeted that PvP player base specifically. Games can succeed with smaller player bases provided they focus entirely on that demographic. And when someone says to me, I'm making an MMORPG, they clearly want to appeal to a lot of players. If you want to appeal to a very niche market, that's fine, but you're going to hit your market cap pretty quickly.
Which is fine if you can do it well and if you can tailor everything to that player base. I mean, RuneScape has done that really well. They've got a very niche player base, but generally everything they do is tailored to them. There's never any anything that they add in that's not grindy. People want grindy things. It's a second monitor game, most of the time. When they add a powerful item, you can't just go and get that powerful item. We know we're going to have to grind for it. We're going to have to kill this boss hundreds of times to even get the chance to get it. We're going to have to go and mine for 60 hours plus to even get close to getting this new item. Like, it's expected, and they follow through with it, every step of the way. Other games don't do that. They switch up what they're doing to suit bringing new people in, and you'll just get rid of. By doing that, you risk getting rid of, your entire player base that you currently have.
Imagine if McDonald's suddenly started only selling salad.
Yeah.
Some people might want that. Some people might be there going, oh my God, that's amazing. This is fantastic. Really enjoying the fact that McDonald's are only selling salad. You're going to lose most of your customer base. Yeah. When you create a game, you are saying you want to create an experience tailored to a certain demographic of people who are going to understand it and enjoy it and remain there. And that's great. If you want to make a small niche game to appeal to a small niche amount of people, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It might not be massive, but it'll succeed. Amazon want massive. New World is not a niche game. They want to appeal to as many people as they possibly can. And what we're pointing out is a lot of their design choices are niche. Yeah, especially the decentralized banks. So when you create an MMORPG, the more hardcore, strange, weird, difficult, odd things that you put into it, the more you're limiting your player base. And this is my main problem with Sandbox games. My main problem with Sandbox games is if they are a complete 100% true sandbox where you can do whatever you want, you're going to have anarchy within months. Weeks, if you're lucky. If you're making a game that's limiting itself and it's a sandbox, but you can't do whatever you want, it's not necessarily a sandbox.
Minecraft is a really good example of that. 'Cause when I used to play, and I'd go on these servers where everyone's got a plot of land and it's all lined up in this constructed city, and you can buy a plot of land, you can do whatever you want on there. That's great. And then I'd always get this itch where I'm like, I just want people to build their own towns out and have them look, be able to terraform, so it's not just flat. So I'll go to a server that doesn't have these restrictions, and then I will immediately remember why there are these restrictions. Because it's like a giant creep has just blown up half the server. Yeah.
Should there have been PvP only servers on New World? Yes. Just if you want to have a PvP server where PvP is always on all the time,
they work for World of Warcraft.
That'd be great. Some people want PvP. I want you to want PvP. I want you to enjoy PvP. I don't want to be forced into it, but I also don't want you to be forced out of it. You want a PvP? Cool. Go to a PvP-only server. You can still toggle PvP on and off on the regular servers.
On the regulars,
But if you want a server that has PvP on all the time, that would not be a negative for me.
No, it's like a new game mode, isn't it?
Putting that into the game isn't going to make my experience worse.
No.
And this is what I see a lot with strange people. People seem to think that if you give a certain demographic of players an aspect of the game that they want, it makes your experience worse. Of course it doesn't. You want to have PvP servers? Go for it. You go for it.
I think it can be a benefit to RuneScape's Deadman mode. Not Deadman mode, sorry. Darkscape, was it?
Yeah, I've read that.
There was PvP on everywhere.
Yeah.
People loved it. Not a great amount, though, and this is the thing. It eventually shut down because the cost of servers outweighed the money they made.
Yeah.
And that's a real cutting point for Blizzard. Not Blizzard, for Jagex.
Because RuneScape is not expensive to host. RuneScape is not exactly a super complicated game. When RuneScape cannot make their money back on a few PvP servers,
that's a dire situation.
Yeah, you quickly realise how few PvP players there actually are. And the couple of 100 or 1,000 people that did play will, wax poetical about how great the PvP server used to be without realising it's not sustainable. And this is, again, the disconnect between talking as a player, saying what you want, and talking as a developer, saying what's potentially practical and realistic.
Yeah. And you also need to remember that the numbers that they shut them down on was based on initial release, where even the non-PvPers were like, well, I'll give it a try. It's something different. I jumped on, and they shut it down while I was on there, and I was like, oh, if it shut down at absolute critical mass day one, it was never going to last.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
That reminds me, in 2 days' time, Group Iron Man will be out.
That is true. Group Iron Man is finally releasing on old school RuneScape, and people have said, why? Because the whole point of Iron Man was you stand alone. Group Iron Man is going to be if a load of new people start new characters on Iron Man, meet up at Tutorial Island, you can do an Iron Man group, so you can trade freely but only within your group.
Yeah.
And people have said, why? What is the point? Iron Man standalone. You're meant to be a solo experience. And I try to explain this. Iron Man is playing a Minecraft private server by yourself.
Yeah.
Regular RuneScape is playing a Minecraft public server. Group Iron Man is playing a private server with your friends.
Yeah.
That's the best way to look at it. It's a private server.
That's spot on.
With your friends. It's like people say, oh, you want to be, you're an Iron Man. You want to play alone. I'm like, yes, but I want to play alone with these people.
I don't think it's so much that people want to play alone. It's people don't want to play with the influence of others ruining it.
Yes.
Now, you still want to play with the influence of your friends, and that's why Group Iron Man is a perfect thing. I mean, if we look at the team that we've got, it's me, you, Locust, Lorenzo, and Daz. That's going to be just, 5 people that aren't going to mess each other's progress up and stuff. We're just going to have fun playing together, being able to trade stuff that we've gone off and done by ourselves on a day.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be fun. There's not going to be anyone there toxic that we don't want to play with. Yeah. There's not going to be anyone griefing our boss kills. It'll just be fun.
Yeah, I like RuneScape. I like the world. I like the items. I like the progression. I like the history. I like the graphics. I like all of it. I don't like when I'm playing RuneScape regularly and I'm thinking to myself, I need to get an item that costs 10 million coins. I could go and get the item and it would take me 6 hours, or I could just make 10 million coins and go and buy it, which would be much, much, much quicker. Because then I'm then it's the back of my mind is always, I'm not being efficient. I should make money. I shouldn't be doing this. There's no point doing this. And there's no point doing this if I'm just going to go and get the item a different way. Iron Man mode gives you that purpose. It gives you the point back. If you
don't have any other way to do it.
Correct. You need to go and do the inefficient thing because in Iron Man mode, it's the only thing.
Yeah,
that
you can't even buy in-game cash.
Bonds,
you can buy bonds with real money and redeem them for cash. You can't do that as Iron Man. So let's say me and Josh we're in this group Iron Man. Josh doesn't have the option to think, well, I've put out a video the other night that's done really well. I'm just going to go and buy a full set of Bandos or something. And then I'm there going, well, I suppose I better as well.
Yeah.
We have to go and earn it.
We need to go to Bandos. It gives the point back. So Iron Man mode was great at giving purpose to otherwise irrelevant content.
Yep.
There's no point grinding for 2 or 3 hours to get a dark bow when you could just buy a dark bow off the Grand Exchange for however many coins that you'd earn in a much more efficient way, super quick. And I enjoyed the Iron Man game mode. And I want to enjoy it with friends. Because if my friend gets if you get a really good drop, I'm going to be happy for you.
Yep.
That'd be great. We're happy for us. We can then go to a boss together. We can use the items together. It's going to be great to team up together.
Yeah, and here's the thing. One of the problems with regular Iron Man, if you get a drop and you get a duplicate, it's soul-crushing.
Yeah.
Absolutely soul-crushing, because it's just a placeholder in your bank.
Yeah.
It's an expensive item. You're never going to lose it. So the other is just sitting there. Yeah. But now, Group Iron Man, I can go and get 2 rare drops back-to-back, give Josh one. Happy days. So and go, and he can give me 2 of whatever he's had.
Going to a club by yourself is awful. Sitting at home by yourself, chilling at home, that's pretty cool. Going to a club with your mates, all knowing you're going to stick together and have a good time, that can make even the shittiest of places fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. Group Iron Man is effectively going to a club with your friends, knowing nobody else at the club is going to ruin your night.
Yeah, it's choosing your company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way to do it. And I'm happy with that. I'm very, very happy with the entire idea of that. So my entire week is going to be a combination of making videos about New World, because if you're making YouTube videos, you want to be hopping on the New World bandwagon right now, because it's just getting searched everywhere. And then classic nostalgia-driven videos, because if I make MMORPG content forever, I'm going to go insane. So I need to make sure I'm doing nostalgia stuff. Callum, you'll be doing the same. What's the next video on your nostalgia? Was it nostalgia check? Your
nostalgia check, yeah. We're going to be checking out Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
No. Okay, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. That is.
We'll be doing that on stream tomorrow, playing it.
That's pretty good. I think
I finally worked that out. The double recordings.
Okay.
It works flawlessly. It's amazing.
You're gonna have to tell me, because I need to work out a way to do it. I might be going back to either the original Tomb Raider on PlayStation 1 or PC, or there's an old PlayStation 1 game that I had called Death Trap Dungeon. Almost no one's played Death Trap Dungeon.
I've not heard of that.
Oh, God. So, do you remember those old fighting fantasy novels written by Ian Livingstone? And it would be, if you want to go left, turn to this page. If you want to pick up the sword, turn to that page. And you flip through the pages and whatnot. Death Trap Dungeon was one of his first fighting fantasy novels. And it got made into a PlayStation 1 game. It's really hard. Death Trap Dungeon is it's like Dark Souls levels of difficulty without being fair. It's just super difficult.
Relentless.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back and play that. And Death Trap Dungeon was hard. But I'm going to grab it on the emulation, see what I can do and play through that. But again, no one's heard of it, but I want to play it because it makes me happy. And if I don't make videos that make me happy, I'm going to go mad. Yeah.
I agree. That's why I wanted to do this. One, make some evergreen content.
Yeah.
Two, make some content that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't have to, worry about the timing of and everything, or like, am I going to be able to make a video this Tuesday? Like, if Dreamworld just pissed off for the week, I'll be able to fill gaps as well.
Yes,
so
I will.
It's exciting.
I will indeed play Heroes of Might and Magic. Me and Cal will happily play any old game that you recommend us. Just give us time to play it because we have a long list of games to play.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's been a lovely chat tonight, Cal.
It has.
It's been 2 hours. Are you okay calling
2
it
hours?
there? I think we should call it there.
I am fine calling it
there. We have
there.
discussed relationships. We have discussed improving yourself as a human being. We've discussed happiness, New World, McDonald's selling salads.
Yeah. It's been not necessarily all in the same context.
No. No.
But
it's definitely been a tangent, and I appreciate that. That's what Monday is about. It's about just chatting with you guys. I get to talk to Cal because me and Cal are busy all week.
Yeah.
This is the only time we get to actually talk.
It's crazy. People don't realise this. I actually picked my upload schedule to not clash with yours and Kira's, which sounds great until you want to talk to the people on those other schedules.
Yeah.
So, like, me and you, we upload on alternating days 2 to 3 times a week.
Yep.
That leaves one day, Monday.
Yep. Which we've done for the audience, by the way. We've done for you guys to make sure you're not, starved for content. Every day there is content being made, and we know that we're competing against thousands of other, hundreds of thousands of other YouTubers, and we make sure we get you some content. Ratchet and Clank, absolutely. Right.
And that's on my list too. But yeah, someone actually said this to me yesterday. Not yesterday, it was a few days ago. They, one of my new patrons says that they, like us being the Holy Trinity, me, you, and Kira, they love it because they said there is never a day where I don't have something to watch at tea time.
Good. That's exactly what we need.
And I was just like, that's the point. That's why we do it.
That is exactly what we need. Kira was actually on this chat a couple of days ago, and is the Kira episode up on the YouTube channel?
Yes, it is actually, and I will grab that and I'll post it.
If you search for Tangent Tavern on YouTube, you can find it. Syndicate and Syndicate Wars. Yes, Angry Bees, good choice. You know a game that I played on PlayStation 1? It was called Colony Wars, and then Colony Wars Vengeance, the sequel to it. And it was like or G-Police. It was like a sci-fi, futuristic, flying a police, a helicopter around a city. But a lot of my games that I'm finding, demo discs. I had a lot of PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 demo discs when I was a kid, and I played through all the demos on it. And that's where I remember a lot of my games from. So G-Police, Death Trap Dungeon, Colony Wars, Cyberdeck, all of them are going to be on there. That's going to be a thing.
That's awesome.
321 says Kira should be a permanent addition. Kira, he would love to do it again, but he is way too busy. That's the problem. His schedule
He'll definitely
is insane.
be back again.
Oh, God, yeah. We'll get him back.
Yeah.
We'll absolutely get him back. But for now, Cal, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And everyone everyone on Twitch chat, thank you very much for joining us. It's been lovely. I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah. Thank you for my squad dropping by as well. This episode won't be up tomorrow, but last week's will because we're like a week behind on uploads.
We have to follow Twitch's policy of waiting 24 hours before we put any content onto anything else. But no, thank you for joining us, guys. It's been a lovely 2 hours of Tangent. We will see you on... so my Monday video... No, today's Monday. My Wednesday video will be about New World. Saturday will be a terrible MMO as usual.
Yeah.
Cal, what have you got coming out this week?
Tomorrow, we're taking a look at Dreamworld's new magic system. And their developers have returned for round 2.
Okay.
And also, on that night, we are going to be live playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeons, if I can get this not emulator to work.
Sounds fantastic. Not an emulator. No, totally legal.
Oh.
Right.
It's totally legal.
Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Take care. Good night.
Yeah.
And God bless.
Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. There we go. All